918-1813. Call now.
You're watching Your View.
Thank you for joining us. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Hey, great friends. What is happening? It is a Monday afternoon here on Kaplan and Crew on the radio airwaves of the mightier 1090. By the way, happy anniversary. I saw this past weekend. Bill Hagan, the owner of 1090, 23 years of marriage. Hey, Bill. Mazel tov to you, brother. That's great. Congratulations. You know, it seemed like a lot of things were happening this weekend in terms of weddings and anniversaries. Last week, my parents celebrated their 53rd wedding anniversary. Unbelievable. Gosh, I'm so envious of that. I wish I could have made it to 23, 53. I wish I could have made it. I made it to like 17. Also, shout out to my friend Ernie Hahn and his wife, Kristen Hahn, because their daughter got married this past weekend. So their firstborn. That's really great. Shout out to my friend Jeff Jacobs and his wife, Annie Lawless Jacobs. They celebrated their wedding anniversary this past weekend. And hey, a shout out to my friends, Devin and Megan Piscatelli. I was at their wedding this past weekend in Idaho. So lots of anniversaries there and weddings to be celebrated. So mazel tov to everybody. And Bill Hagan, thinking about you today, pal. Way to go. All right, we are in the 7 Mile Casino studios on radio, on television tonight on Channel 4, San Diego, Your View, the Cox Network. And as always on YouTube, get involved in our YouTube chat, a thumbs up, visit with our sponsors down below, and always on audio podcast platforms as well. All right, Browner, Grande, I'm bringing you guys in like right away. Let's decide here. NFL Week 2, Browner, your Chicago Bears are probably going to give you the gift that you've wanted, which means Andy Dalton is hurt and Justin Fields is in. But it might turn out to be what John Clayton's been saying all this time. You're going to wind up getting a young quarterback killed behind that offensive line. You've already had an older quarterback get hurt behind that offensive line. So we can talk. We can talk some NFL. Alex, you had your Minnesota Vikings yesterday lose in Arizona when they they should have won the game. I mean, really a 35, 36, 37-yard field goal for an NFL kicker should be like 99.9%, and your guy missed. For me, great day yesterday. The Rams held on, not spectacular, but held on against the Colts, whereas the Chargers got beat in front of all those Cowboy fans at SoFi Stadium. So I got a lot of football on my mind. College football, too. San Diego State with a monster win against Utah. USC gets back on the winning track, even though they lose their starting quarterback. We'll get to that story. UCLA, you talk about overhyped for Fresno State to pull in.
Told you guys.
I know, it's like crazy.
Come on.
So we got a lot of football, college football, NFL football. But guys, I'm going to suggest here that we start with baseball and we really dig in on the Padres. Now, you guys can outvote me. Maybe we should go to NFL football, college football. But the Padres and this road trip and the fight between Machado and Tatis, and now the article that AC, who's virtually employed by the Padres, writes that they're going to fire Tingler. I mean, you guys tell me, where do you want to start?
Baseball.
All right.
Yeah,
baseball.
of course. The thing burning, man. We got to put this fire out. We got to get this over with. Football won't be here. We got to get this over with.
I don't know if this is like the funeral for the Padres 2021 season today, but I mean, we're planning it. We've already talked to the mortuary. We've already got the plot. We've already picked out the casket. We're pretty much ready to go with this. But I think this season is there's no chance they make the playoffs.
You show up a half game out. Then you come home 3.5 games out behind three other teams. Come on, bro.
Unfortunately, I called it on Friday that they'd be swept. I was trying to because Browner convinced me not to be optimistic on Friday, so I was like, fine, they're going to be swept. And then
say that.
Well, damn it, they got swept. So it really nothing surprised me as far as the actual baseball goes. I would say the pitching staff is a disaster. They're just totally injured and hurt, and I don't trust the bullpen. I don't trust a single person in that bullpen. Except Chrismat, which we talked about while you were gone last week, Scott, which is a terrible sign. And, the offense, they scored some runs here and there, but when you are giving up 8 every game, you're going to lose.
Yeah. Well, let's start off with this, okay? So if you remember, when the Padres had 31 games to go, we all made predictions. How will they do in their final 31 games? I said they'd be 11-20 in their last 31 games. Alex, do you remember what you said?
15-16.
And Browner?
I think I said like 19. I had them down for 19 wins. So 19-12 or 19-13 or something like that.
Okay. Okay. And then now when they went out on this past 10-game road trip, 3 in LA, 4 in San Francisco, 3 in St. Louis, I said they'll be real fortunate to be at 4-6 coming out of 10 games. Browner, what did you say they would be?
6-4. I remember that.
5-6 was the optimistic view, is what I said.
But they were only 10 games.
Oh, then 5-5.
Okay,
sorry.
Just want to make sure. So I said
with a 5.
I said 4-6, which I thought was generous. I said 3-7, which I thought was more realistic. Dude, you're in the middle of a playoff race. You just went 2-8 on the road. Now, it was against the Dodgers. It was against the Giants, 2 teams that are ahead of you by far. I mean, they've left you in the dust, okay? But it was against a surging St. Louis team, which I had seen beaten the Dodgers 2 out of 3 the week before. So there was no reason that I could find to be optimistic. You know, Blake Snell was pitching well, got hurt. Yu Darvish has been trash the last couple of starts. Chris Paddock went back on the IL. Weathers is long gone.
He did pitch one.
Yeah.
I forgot he was on the team, but he did pitch.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm saying long gone. I mean, he's out of it.
He's not a factor.
So I couldn't find any reason to think that the Padres were going to even do better than 3-7 on this 10-game road trip. And they proved me wrong because they actually went 2-8 on the 10-game road trip. 2-8. I'm actually surprised they won 2 games in San Francisco, very frankly.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's the reason Jay Stingler's employed at the moment. If they go out and imagine they lose all 10 games, if they go 0-10, there's no chance you could bring that dude back on the plane from St. Louis. Those 2 wins gave us, me and Browner, hope last week while you were gone, Scott. And it gave the fan base some hope that, hey, we're half a game. We're going to St. Louis. We can do this.
Right.
And then you perform like that.
I think coming back 2-10 gets him fired. I don't think he should have got back on the plane after the 2-10. Yeah, we did not predict for them to do well. Well, you guys didn't predict for them to do well accurately. So, but the 2 games they won were against the best team in baseball. And here you go, you take those 2 wins and you go rolling into a place to now put them out of their misery in St. Louis. And it ended up being the other way around in more ways than one. So look, man,
the big story though, guys, is not even being 2-8 in the 10-game road trip, not even leaving San Diego with a little teeny tiny lead for that second wild card spot and now coming home. And Alex, this would be a good time to do wild card watch, because then the bigger part of the story is
wild card watch should just be a fart noise.
That's not it. There you go. All right, here we go. What do you got, Alex?
Well, the Cardinals now have a 3-game lead over the Reds, who are in second place. The Phillies are now above the Padres with 3.5 games back. The Padres also 3.5 back, but head-to-head, the Phillies have the advantage there. Cardinals at Milwaukee starting today. Reds versus Pittsburgh starting today. Phillies versus Baltimore starting today. And tomorrow, the Padres host the Giants for 3.
Okay. All right, so the Giants will come to town. They'll bring lots of fans. They'll take over Petco Park. They'll sweep through the Padres, and we'll stop with this wild card watch nonsense. How many games are remaining
13.
in the season? 13 games. So now you're 3.5 games back with 13 games to play. Are you mathematically eliminated? No. Do you need everybody in front of you to lose every game the rest of the way? Yes. Do you need to win every
12
game?
games.
12 games.
It's over.
You got to go 12-0, and you got to hope everybody else goes 0-12. The Padres officially today on September 20th are not going to make the playoffs.
We need a fire watch. We need to get rid of the wild card watch. We need a fire watch. Fire Chase Tingler. Where's the fire watch?
You know how in the first segment you said you're bad with names? He's been the manager for a long time. You still don't know his name's Chase Tingler.
He's going to be gone soon, man. I'm going to have to learn somebody else's name, so it won't matter.
Yeah. But that's the thing, too. Like
Chase, yeah.
So we're talking about, firing Chase Tingler. What? For what? For what? Who are they going to bring in that's going to make a difference? They're going to bring in another Jay Stingler. They're going to bring in another Andy Green. They're going to bring in another Pat Murphy. Guys that are controllable, guys that will say yes to AJ Preller, guys that will not have. I mean, I don't think they're going to bring anybody that's like who in the article that AC wrote yesterday. If you guys read it, he's like, Bruce Bochy's down to come back.
Mm-hmm.
What chance in hell you think AJ Preller is going to hire Bruce Bochy?
Well, let's rephrase that question. What chance in hell do you think that Bruce Bochy would work for AJ Preller? That's the difference here. Is Bruce Bochy walks into the office and he sits down with Peter Seidler and he goes, Peter, see these right here? Look at these 4 fingers. See, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 rings right there. Here, I'll just put 3 fingers up. There's 3 rings from the San Francisco Giants. Now, by the way, here's what happened. The Padres fired me. They pushed me out. I wasn't fiery enough. They didn't see me getting into players. They didn't see me firing guys up enough. I was boring at press conferences. The Padres fired me. I went to San Francisco, where now I'm a Hall of Fame manager because I got 3 of these bad boys. Okay, now you tell me, Peter, do you want my baseball knowledge and my championship knowledge, or do you want to keep hanging with this guy, AJ Preller? Because if Preller is the guy and I just have to be the manager that babysits everybody, but because I've got these 3 rings, people will buy into what I'm selling, that's not going to work. Philosophically, AJ Preller is an analytics guy, and Bruce Bochy is a feel for baseball guy. And you want to know why Bruce Bochy's that? Because he was a catcher in the major leagues, and he managed for 20 years, and he won 3 World Series. He's got a feel for the game. He knows the game from being behind the plate. AJ Preller, I'm not saying that other guys haven't been successful as analytics guys, but AJ Preller doesn't have that feel. So philosophically, AJ Preller's on one side and Bruce Bochy's on the other side, and I don't see those 2 things working together at all.
But
now, if you wanted to hire somebody, I'm just going to get to, if you wanted to hire somebody who's popular and likable here in San Diego, and you decided to say, hey, we didn't hire Dave Roberts when we had the opportunity to, and he's gone on to great success with the Dodgers. You know what? Maybe we're going to go hire somebody that's got a little bit more local visibility and likability. That only lasts for a little bit of time because the Tingler honeymoon has come to an end as the season has collapsed.
I think if you're going to hire Bruce Bochy, if he's an option, if he wants to come back, that will get figured out in the first meeting that they sit down and say, listen, you've got the players. Once they put uniforms on, they're my responsibility. That's where your job stops. That's where my job begins. That's it. Once he goes in and he says that, and he's got the hardware to prove it, that conversation's over. And if Preller can't accept that, then he's got to go to, we did this, follow the numbers, paint the dots. We did that before. It's not working. You need somebody who has a feel for the game. And the last 2 guys who he hired to just listen to him and follow the numbers, it didn't work. So we can't
why those
do
guys
that
were
again.
hired. Those guys were hired because they were young, they were inexpensive,
and that's all okay.
They were inexperienced, and they were controllable personalities. Bruce Bochy is older. He's already got plenty of money. He's already going to the Hall of Fame. And the last thing that Bruce Bochy is right now is controllable. And you see the difference is Andy Green wanted to be a manager in Major League Baseball. Same goes for Jace Tingler. Wanted to be a manager. I'll take less money, and I will do whatever they tell me to do. Bruce Bochy doesn't do that.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a problem with first-time managers? Because I don't. Because you got to do the job at some point. You got to learn somewhere. So I don't have a problem with first-time managers.
Not about first-time managers. Not about first-time managers. Just about making sure that you know who you have on your team and who's in your clubhouse versus what kind of personality it requires to actually manage that.
I agree. If you get the right because I mean, this sounds a little biased because we have him on the show, but I think Mark Loretta as a first-time manager, I think that's a great get because he's got experience. He actually played to where you knew he was actually a player, and guys will listen to him. So, there are different first-timers you can go to, but if this is a championship roster, you want a person with championships.
It's not. Not a championship roster.
Okay, then that's where we disagree. Because I believe that it is.
How it is. Explain that though. Because Alex, I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. What do you think? Is this a championship roster that's just mismanaged?
No. I would say that the roster is underperforming, but I think that the expectations just got too high because of the last year's success of the shortened season. But no, when you actually look at this roster and compare it to the Dodgers or whoever you want to, no, it's not a championship roster. You think Tommy Pham is a championship left fielder and Will Myers a championship right fielder?
First of all, do you think every player on the Dodgers are championship players simply because they won last year?
No, because they perform like championship players.
Right. And so when they were not performing this year, they were the guys who actually won the championship. Mookie Betts was the MVP. That's a championship player. Every guy isn't a championship player. It's the guys at the top of the roster. It's the guys that make the money. Those are the championship players that get you across the hump.
Is
So
Manny
do I
Machado a
believe that?
championship player?
I believe
No,
on
no,
this.
no. But he's not currently.
Let me explain. On this roster, under the right tutelage, I believe Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr. are championship players. I believe Jake Cronenworth is a championship player. I believe that these guys, in the moment, again, under the right tutelage, can rise to the level of success that you need to win the championship.
If you look at actual performance, and if you watch the baseball games like I pretty much do every single game, those are the only three guys that are worth anything on this team. Those are the only three. And it's not, the problem is not Tatis and Machado and Cronenworth not performing up to their level. Dude, Machado's about to have 100 RBIs and 25 home runs. Tatis is going to hit 40 home runs this year and bring in another 100 RBIs. So like that, they're not the problem. It's everybody else. It's literally everybody else.
Every good team has top line guys, and then you have guys who answer the call every other day, once or twice a week. That's your Austin Nolas. That's your Tommy Phams. That's your Eric Hosmers. All 9 guys aren't going to be stars, but that's not, I mean, you guys know that. So all I'm
saying is if you come back next year with this roster, and a different manager, you really think this team's going to go to the World Series?
Yes.
Same roster?
Yes.
Come on, dude. Come on. Really?
Yes.
Then you're not even watching.
Behind.
Then you're really not even watching.
I am watching.
So far behind
I don't know what
the
you're
Giants
watching.
and the Dodgers. They're not. Look, it's not like they're close.
They're going to finish 30 games behind the Dodgers and Giants. They're going to finish at 500. Luck, maybe.
Why would this?
This is an under 500 team.
Why
maybe.
would this be a championship caliber roster? Why would you not be thinking to yourself, no? There's 3 people right now. There's 3 pieces, and we build around those guys. But Will Myers is not a championship caliber player, nor is Eric Hosmer. Going out and getting the guy they got from Pittsburgh. What are you rolling your eyes at me for? These are the facts. You're coming with opinion. Your opinion is that they're a championship caliber ball club, and you're rolling your eyes at me like what I'm saying is inaccurate.
Because you're telling me Will Myers is a championship
No,
player.
I'm not.
I never said that.
No, I'm not saying he is. I'm saying that this roster, as it currently sits, adding Mike Clevenger to it next year is not enough to compete with the Dodgers or the Giants. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, no, but
because I think I'll just tell you that.
Facts.
I just think that tell you that you're in the minority for sure.
Okay, so who's
you're in the minority.
Okay, right. Okay,
because
so
you're coming into it and you're debating, you're arguing with us, thinking that it's the off season before the season actually started because everybody bought into the hype. Okay. The hype is not reality.
Okay, let me ask y'all a question. Y'all saw the Giants doing this year? When the Giants started, y'all said that was a championship team? Anybody say that?
Not. No.
Did y'all say the Brewers were a championship team?
No,
They're in first place?
No, my answer is no, okay? Because I don't think about baseball that way. I don't sit around in the preseason and go, who do I think is going to finish in the first place in this division? Who's going to finish in first place in this division? It's just not the way I follow baseball. I thought that the Dodgers and the Padres were the 2 top teams in the NL West. Why?
Right.
Mostly because I bought the hype of last year. Well, the hype wasn't created this year. It was in the first month or 2, and then everything is trended downward. So as somebody who is not necessarily an analytics person who studies every number, I just use the eye test. Is this Padres roster as it currently sits good enough to win a championship a year from now by adding Mike Clevenger? And my answer is not even close. Your answer is yes. With a good manager, they can win a championship with the current roster. I think we disagree. Clearly.
Yes.
You think?
Yeah.
You think?
And one of us is right, and one of us lives in a fantasy world and rolls his eyes at everybody else because the facts are the facts, Browner.
I rolled my eyes because you were saying that Will Myers is a championship player, and I never said that.
Not a championship player.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I never said he was. You said he was. I said that.
Did not say he was.
Look at what AJ Preller.
Run it back.
Look at what AJ Preller has done to this show.
Look what he's
making us argue.
He's done to the whole community. He's done to the whole community. Look what he's done. And this is why, listen, we can all sit here and blame Jay Stingler. I blame Preller, and I blame before him Fowler, and now I'm going to blame Seidler if he doesn't do something about it.
You want me to
how do you not blame AJ Preller for this?
Me?
How do you not?
Well,
anybody. I don't. How does it you finally joined the team? It took you 149 games to finally join the Preller team. But all I'm saying is when you look at this, how can you not blame the guy that brought in?
Right.
He had to sell Tingler to everybody.
Right. right,
Nobody thought it was a good hire.
Right, hold on one second, because we got lots more to get to. Let me have a minute here to do at least mention one of our great sponsors. I'm going to mention iThrive MD. iThrive MD, incredible. Before I left for a couple of days, I went to go to iThrive MD. I got a testosterone shot, but they did all my blood work. They went through, and by the way, I got an email from their doctors explaining everything that they found in my blood work, what I'm deficient in, what I'm good in. I mean, let me tell you something. I've been saying for a long time, this is a much higher level of service than I've ever had before. ithrivemd.com/Kaplan. Go to our website, kaplanandcrew.com. Click on the iThrive MD logo. You're going to find out all the free stuff they've got for you. I'm already getting tons of listeners saying, I've come with you. I was at the other place. I'm coming with you. I'm actually saving money, and I'm getting a much higher level of service. Dr. Samir Damani and his team can help. If you are over 40 years old and you are suffering from low testosterone, you're like, I don't even know if I am. Depression, brain fog, erectile dysfunction, all of these are symptoms. But guys, I want to talk about our longevity. So this is San Diego's leading anti-aging and performance optimization clinic. This is iThrive MD, and you're going to stay healthy, and you're going to live longer, and you're going to be happier. You need to go to our website, kaplanandcrew.com, click on the iThrive MD logo, and make an appointment today. iThrive MD. All right, lots more to get to. The Padres are our lead story. We'll get to the NFL. Stick around, everybody. This is Kaplan and Crew.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Rich Eisen here, inviting you to catch my show, The Rich Eisen Show, on our flagship radio station, the mightier 1090. We're on every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to noon Pacific time. You like what you hear? If not, that's just, I guess, too bad.
A new generation of radio, the all-new and mightier 1090.
SDCCU is an engaged community partner. Each year, SDCCU is proud to support many nonprofit organizations throughout Southern California. Our partnerships allow us to help shape the financial lives of many through volunteerism, financial support, and creating public awareness. The result is a big impact on the communities we serve. SDCCU, it's not big bank banking, it's better. Federally insured by NCUA. Find out more at sdccu.com.
Live soccer is back. Watch Orange County Soccer Club, OC's highest level of professional soccer, live on your view. Watch Orange County SC take on the Oakland Roots SC, Saturday, September 25th at 7. Watch world-class players and future stars. Transform your summer with the new family game night and outdoor fun all season long. Live soccer is back. Orange County versus the Oakland Roots SC, Saturday, September 25th at 7 on your view.
This year, Jobtoberfest is Wednesday, October 13th. It's the largest annual job fair in San Diego County for people with disabilities. Let's hear from one of our major sponsors.
At Marsty, we recognize the value that individuals with disabilities, as well as those in recovery from substance use, can bring to the workforce, especially to those who want to or are currently counseling those with disabilities and substance use disorder. Marsty is proud to partner with Jobtoberfest.
Let's take it up a notch with Kaplan and Crew tonight's Premium Boost, powered by the mightier 1090.
When it comes to buying an electric car, there's a couple things to keep in mind. Electric cars, for the most part, they work like a normal gasoline-powered car, but they do feel slightly different. So going for a test drive in an electric car is super important before you make that final decision. But in addition to that, there's a few things to balance. You're going to have to balance price, range, and space. Most electric cars are smaller than, say, the average truck or SUV. So you have to consider those three things if you're serious about putting an electric car in your driveway. The first thing you have to do is be realistic about how you use your car. And I would advise this of people, even if they're buying a gasoline-powered car or a hybrid or whatever it is, figure out what your needs are, because there's no point in getting a car of any kind then getting it home and finding out, oh my gosh, my dog won't fit, or my child booster seat is too hard to put in. So if you're serious about a certain kind of a car, whether it's electric or gas powered, bring your stuff to the dealership and say, I need to really get my life into this car. and let's just see if that will work or not. That's one way of doing it. But also be realistic about how much you drive every day. If you drive 100+ miles each way every day, you're going to need something that can accommodate that. But if not, something maybe smaller or lesser could work for you. We have our list of best electric cars for 2021, and we picked 10 cars that we think are the best of the best. And the criteria we set for that is that the car had to have a plug. So we did not include hybrids other than plug-in hybrids. So there's two different kinds of hybrids: gasoline electric hybrids or a plug-in hybrid, which uses electricity part of the time. Our rules were the car has to have a plug and it has to be available within the next 6 months. So we came up with a list that have some, I think, really great cars. And if the average person were to drive them, I think they would agree.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's Premium Boost is powered by the Mightier 1090.
Hey, Dave Smith here. Make sure you listen to my show on the Mightier 1090, 6 to 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday night. The only local sports talk in all of Southern California on the weekends, right here on the Mightier 1090.
The all-new and Mightier 1090. Adventure is waiting for you at BMW San Diego. A new 2022 BMW X3 xDrive 30i waiting for you today when you lease for only $519 per month plus tax. BMW San Diego, Kearney Mesa Road and the 163.
Up to 30% of COVID-19 patients become long haulers with persistent symptoms months after the infection.
What I've been finding with my patients is that it's taking up to 3 to 6 months for them to recover their endurance, exercise capacity, and get them back to work or to their usual activities of daily living.
What I wasn't able to do was the basic needs, like brush your teeth, take a shower, because of the shortness of breath, the tightness in my chest.
The symptoms that concern me the most, the shortness of breath. So restrictive. You go through and you just take for granted that, you're gonna breathe. And when that gets taken away, it's a scary thought. Unfortunately, I'm 6 months out now from my diagnosis, and I'm still suffering from several of the symptoms.
My experience with the patients I've sent to La Mesa Rehab has been extremely positive. The patients come back with good reports, and when I see them in the office, their exercise capacity has improved dramatically.
I'm getting there because of La Mesa Rehab.
Adventure is waiting for you at BMW San Diego. A new 2022 BMW X3 xDrive 30i waiting for you today when you lease for only $519 per month plus tax. BMW San Diego, Kearney Mesa Road and the 163.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
San Diego State football beat Utah in a triple overtime thriller 33-31 on Saturday. The Utes and the Aztecs headed into the first overtime tied at 24. In the first overtime, SDSU quarterback Lucas Johnson, who played on Saturday due to Jordan Brookshire having an injured foot, connected with wide receiver Jay Rudolph for a touchdown. Utah found the end zone as well, sending the game to a second overtime. Both teams missed the field goal in the second OT, which led to a triple overtime. New overtime rules stipulate that in the third overtime period, the two teams will alternate 2-point conversions. The game almost saw a fourth overtime as both teams were able to get the 2-point conversion, but an overturned call on Utah's score saw an end to the matchup with SDSU coming out on top. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew Tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View.
Here it comes, Jalen Johnson. 3 touchdowns on the night.
Watch out.
Brought down right at the line of scrimmage.
To the end zone. Christakis pulls it in. What a catch!
Over the middle, right there in his hand. They throw down towards the end zone. In stride, touchdown, Dono. Thibodeau breaks another tackle.
Big run up the middle. Touchdown.
This year, Jobtoberfest is Wednesday, October 13th. It's the largest annual job fair in San Diego County for people with disabilities. Let's hear from one of our major sponsors.
At Marsty, we recognize the value that individuals with disabilities, as well as those in recovery from substance use, can bring to the workforce, especially to those who want to or are currently counseling those with disabilities and substance use disorder. Marsty is proud to partner with Jobtoberfest.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 in your view, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Great friends, we welcome you back inside the 7 Mile Casino studios here of Kaplan and Crew. 7 Mile Casino, 7milecasino.com, just minutes from downtown San Diego. And now Sammy's Restaurant and Bar inside 7 Mile Casino, open 24/7. And on Saturdays and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. with a phenomenal brunch. Great place to watch college football, NFL football. It is the place to be if you like poker and blackjack, great food and booze and football games everywhere. This is the place to be. 7 Mile Casino, just minutes from downtown San Diego. Okay, Browner, Grande. We're in the middle of a big family argument here now. I blame AJ Preller for all of this. Let me just reset it for everybody. I said that the Padres do not have a championship roster. Browner says they have a championship roster. They just don't have a championship manager. We don't see this the same way. The Padres going into this season, there was so much hype because they finally made it to the postseason in the shortened season a year ago. And all the hype about Tatis and covering of video games in the face of baseball and swag and TV commercials, everything was perfect in the first part of the season. And it all came sliding down. You blame the manager, that's fine. You want to blame injuries, okay, that's fine too. You want to blame the front office not making moves at the trade deadline. There's plenty of pie and plenty of blame within that pie to go around. But in my final analysis, I just don't think they have enough. To me, they've got Machado, Tatis, Cronenworth. After that, I mean, Blake Snell maybe is a number 3 or 4 guy if you really want to have a great pitching staff. Yu Darvish, I don't think that we'll ever see Yu Darvish of years past. I think we're getting the old guy version of Yu Darvish. Is Clevenger going to come back and be who he was pre-Tommy John, second Tommy John? Is Ryan Weathers going to grow up and become a reliable starter? Is Chris Paddock? I doubt it. Is Mckenzie Gore ever going to be on the Padres Major League Ball Club? I actually don't think so. So, look, I don't think they've got the pitching staff. I don't think they've got the position players. I think they got 3 guys to build around, and that's what you've got. And I don't think they're anywhere near the Giants, which I didn't see coming. And they're not even close. They're completely outclassed by the Dodgers. And this whole season has fallen apart. And I just don't believe that they've got enough of a roster that if they had a better manager, this season would have gone differently. We obviously disagree, Browner.
Yeah, of course. I just think that look at what San Francisco is doing. San Francisco is winning games in a way that people did not see them winning games. If I'm not mistaken, the 3 of us sat here all year and it's like, oh, at some point, San Francisco will run out of gas. At some point, San Francisco will fall off. At some point, San Francisco will get cold. They haven't. And they're doing it with guys that no one's ever heard of.
I've heard of a few of those guys. A couple guys have some World Series rings.
With Buster Posey's old. So, yeah,
Buster
Posey's got some World Series rings.
Look at the year he's had. Look at the year Buster Posey's had.
I'm agreeing with you. What I'm saying is this. They're not littered with stars. This team has stars on it. They've got 2 stars on it. They've got Cronenworth, who seems to be coming up at mid-level star, somewhere around there. So Cronenworth will be a vital piece going forward. All you need now is guys to plug in, to be sound on defense, and to get timely hits. That's it. And the rest will take care of itself. You don't need this superstar. You don't need to do what the Dodgers are doing. You don't need a star at every position. You don't need that. You need guys to lead the team. You need guys to do their job. And obviously, you have to get pitching. And I really feel like pitching this year for us more was guys getting hurt. A lot of guys got hurt. A lot of our pitchers got hurt. But that's like a history because we've got more guys on Tommy John than I think they even ever had in one team in the history of arms. So next year, I know it sucks to be talking about next year right now, but next year I feel like under the right tutelage with a different pitching coach, with a different hitting coach, with a different manager, the outcomes will be different. Because I feel like Ryan Weathers' struggles is simply because he's not coached up. So I think with the right with the right leadership in that dugout, you will see a completely different turn of events.
Mm-hmm.
I think that listen, Kevin Acee can write whatever he wants, but I think that the clubhouse is fractured because of the lack of a deal for Eric Hosmer in the trade deadline. You can tell me that it's not a big deal, but clearly someone in that clubhouse started something because, Adam Frazier crowded the lineup because you didn't complete the second part of your deal. Everybody got mad at you because you weren't able to bring in another starting pitching, and look who you're starting. Yesterday, Jack Arrieta, Friday, a guy named Vince Velasquez. So clearly, the clubhouse has no faith in what this team was going for. There was no clear message. This is what we're doing. This is what we're going for. So I think, I think there's going to be lots of changes for the personnel too. That's what I'm getting to. I think that the players in this clubhouse know that they cannot bring this team back next year and start over. It's not a refresh button. That's not how it works in real life. I think that when you go through something like this, when there's constantly there's more drama in the clubhouse than we know of
course,
clearly,
yes,
because if anything, AC saying hey, I sat on this. I read his follow up this morning. I sat on this article for weeks. I just wanted to make sure what I was reporting was true, because there's a lot of layers to the story. I think there's a lot of drama within this clubhouse. I'll point at the first baseman for causing a lot of that, because he seems to be a bit of a prima donna. What do you mean you're going to trade me? Scott, hey, board, they're going to trade me. And then started a whole other thing in there, because you shouldn't be mad that you acquired an all-star in Adam Frazier. You should be able to figure out where to play him. And that goes to putting Tatis in the outfit. This roster is a mess. It needs to be reworked. And if you think Clevenger coming back healthy and Lamet and whoever else you want to say coming back healthy, the staff needs to be reworked. That bullpen is trash. They got taxed. There's so many issues that we didn't see coming. But right now in front of us, if you just look at what's in front of us, it's a mess. It needs to be reworked. I'm not saying start over, you're rebuilding. You're not that far away, but it's a mess.
Right.
It's a mess.
So let me just say this. You just mentioned something really interesting, that that the clubhouse itself doesn't really have the faith in the front office, because the front office did not deliver what the roster needed at the trade deadline. And then you looked at what the Dodgers did, and the Dodgers went crazy. And by getting Scherzer and Turner, it's completely changed the Dodgers
Look
season
at what the
around.
Giants did. They got Chris Bryant, and look at them. They got another guy. So Browner says they don't have all-stars. You got Brandon Crawford. You got Chris Bryant. You got Posey. You got Brandon Belt. Guys that have won championships. They secured their lineup in the trade deadline.
You've also got some other names on there that I didn't hear you mention, like Evan Longoria. Just a guy like that was on this team that's got championship caliber credentials. Is Evan Longoria even doing anything for them? I'm just looking up their roster right now. Yeah, I'm just looking at names here on their roster. My point is, you mentioned championship caliber. There is no champion on this Padres team. There is nobody to say, follow me. I've been here. I've done it. There is no Chris Bryant being added at the trade deadline because somebody's fire sailing and he goes, hey, look, I've won a World Series. I know something about this. Manny Machado doesn't have that, but I will give Manny Machado a lot of credit. I think Machado, knowing that there are cameras on the dugout at all times, and him being willing to get into Tatis's face, that's something that this Padres team and this roster has needed. Because here's the thing. Not only do they not have faith in the front office because they didn't deliver, you know what else they don't have? They don't have trust in their manager, because it's like any other work environment. You ever had somebody that's like a boss, but he's kind of, or she's kind of like a spy for the owner, So that's what Jace Tingler is. Jace Tingler is not somebody that Manny Machado feels like, I really can trust this guy. This guy's really got my back. I got a problem with what's going on, and he's going to take it upstairs. They don't trust Jace Tingler. They know that Jace Tingler is AJ Preller by proxy. You understand what I'm saying? There's no trust for the front office. They feel like they just put this manager in just to babysit us and then go tattletale on us. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
That to me is one of the biggest chemical issues on this roster.
But that's another reason why I say you can't bring another guy like this. This is another reason why you can't do it, because it will basically be a holdover from what they just went through last year. This is why this has to be a baseball guy. I want to address something that Alex said, but I didn't want to interrupt you, Scott, while you were explaining your point. Alex just said that there's a lot more turmoil in that locker room than we're aware of. I agree with that. Or clubhouse or whatever. I agree with that. But I want to say something to Eric Hosmer. Bro, if you don't step your game up, they're going to move you, period. And so if you're the one kicking up dust and causing issues that got us to this point where we are behind the scenes, then they need to get you out of here. Like, it's professional sports, big boy.
They tried, dude. They tried. There was nobody who wanted Eric Hosmer.
I agree.
On the way he was performing and the amount of money that he was making.
But if you're gonna cut that check and they're gonna bring in somebody to move you around now off of first base, and you complain and you whine and you baby about it, then you soft, bro. Then you soft. Period. That's professional sports, man. If you can't get the job done, they're gonna bring in somebody else who will. That's why we haven't gotten to football yet, but that's why I love football. Because once you get on the field, you gotta handle your business, or they're gonna replace you. Eric Hosmer, they replaced you, dog, because you was garbage. You couldn't even line up on first base on the right side of first base. You've been playing first base your whole life, bro. You garbage, dog. They replaced you.
They tried to.
They tried to replace you. Don't be mad about it. Play better. Do
20
better.
million, 20 million next year, 13 million, 13 million, and 13 million. So you got him for 4 more years locked in. Yeah, they're going to try and trade that. Of course they're going to try and trade that.
Just complaining about, they won't play. They brought this person, they traded for this. Shut up. Shut up. Get some hits, dog. Line up on the right side of first base, dog. Stop making basic mistakes.
You know, you say Hosmer's to blame, and maybe he is the drama of the clubhouse.
Whoever, I don't know, because again, I'm not in that clubhouse, so I don't technically know. But from the conversation that we're having in AC's article, it sounds like he's part of the problem of guys kicking up dust because they're not getting what they want.
Let me tell you who else is part of the problem. Make no mistake, I don't care how much money they're paying the guy. Tatis is part of the problem.
Yes.
If Manny Machado is having to scream at Fernando Tatis in the dugout about moping, about being disrespectful to the coaches, about just getting out there and playing your game. I mean, if Manny Machado is having to yell at Tatis because he's moping around, he's part of the problem too. Now, you might say, well, but it's the manager's job to get the team together, to stop having these sorts of problems. But they don't have the manager. They don't have a strong enough personality in that position either. What a disaster. I just wish, Alex, I wish we had some numbers on where they were versus where they are and how this thing has completely gone off the rails and totally collapsed. I know we've used numbers in the past and it was like, hey, they were this record at this time of the season and they had this much of a lead. And now all these months later, look where they are. What a nightmare of a season this has turned into. Seriously. Disaster.
Yeah, this is probably when you add up the hype, when you add up how they started, when you add up this roster, this is probably one of the worst seasons in Padres baseball history. Because listen, they've had worse records, don't get me wrong, but the record is nowhere near what anybody was expecting. Right. I got to go back and look at the numbers at the official over-under in Vegas, but I know they're going to hit way below it. I think it was like 90 or something.
They're going to wind up finishing below 500.
Very well, possibly. So when you say, like, I don't even need to emphasize the point. This is one of the worst seasons in Padres history. This is not 2010 again, because 2010, they weren't supposed to do that. That was a gift to be in it. And then the collapse happened. So yeah, you were disappointed. This right here is probably the most disappointing season that I could remember ever. And that's World Series losses, because the hype that you came in here with, Tatis being the superstar, we're calling him the face of baseball, Machado, the pitching staff, like everything's lining up for a run. And now you're going to end up, most likely you will end up either 500 or below. Chances are you're not going to finish above 500 because the way you're playing right now, and you have no pitching, none. You have Musgrove tomorrow, and I think Darvish, and that's it. I don't know who's your starting pitcher anymore. So I don't think we can emphasize the point how disappointing and how terrible this second half collapse has been. I don't have numbers to show you.
No,
Scott,
but your point is right on, though. Is like when you consider the amount of money they spent, the ridiculous contract they gave to Tatis, and I call it ridiculous because they didn't have to give it to him when they did, and that just added to the hype. So now you got Tatis on the cover of the video game, and people think that means you're the face of baseball. Tatis, who had been on such fire at certain times during the year, and the number of home runs, and right in the home run chase with the biggest stars in baseball, with the national media spending more time focusing on the Padres than ever before. You had all this hype, and then it all just came crashing down. And for that, this could be one of the biggest disappointments in the history of an organization that is predominantly disappointments.
I don't have the exact standings of where they were on August 10th.
Yeah.
But August 10th, they were I'm just doing this live, so sorry. 66 and 49, right? That was, I believe they had a 4-game lead at the time. And then since then they've gone 10 and 20. Hold on, let me do the math again. Sorry.
No, that's all right. I like this live math on the air.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. It's very bad. 10 and 23 since then.
10 and 23.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in a playoff race. I mean, I told you guys when I was there probably 3 weeks ago, they were playing against the Angels. They got shut out at home against the Angels. That's not a team that's really a contender, in my opinion. I mean, it wasn't the Angels where it was like their top guys. There was no Trout. There was no Ohtani. Big disappointment, man. I'm telling you right now, we can talk about firing Tingler. We can say, hey, they've got to revamp this roster. Preller's not going anywhere, even though I think he should be fired as well. And they're going to learn, unfortunately, the hardest way, which is you just give up your organization to a guy that has no track record of success and you sell him to everybody. And this is the end result. All you have to do is look at the Chargers and Tom Telesco. That guy's had that job for 10 years. He's had 3 different head coaches. He's had multiple first-round draft choices that have been total bust. Now you get one here and there. You get a Herbert. You get a Tatis. You get one here or there. But seriously, like you got to find a coach that has the sort of experience to make a clubhouse or a locker room believe. Even Brandon Staley, I don't care about how fresh-faced he is, and I don't care about his 1 year of running the Rams defense and they're number 1 in the league. That's not a guy that walks into a locker room and everybody in the locker room goes, we got Brandon Staley now. Now we're going places. I mean, even,
August 10th.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here you go. Cardinals, 56 and 56. They were like 14 games back of the 56 and 56. They were about 11 games back from the Padres. The Padres had a 4.5 game lead over the Reds in the wild card. And now, however long that is later, a month and a week,
unbelievable.
The Cardinals have a 3.5 game lead over the Padres.
Truly unbelievable. It really
10
is.
and 24.
It's embarrassing.
It really is. I know it is. It is. This is a total collapse.
And August 10th is not like recently, like that's a whole 2 weeks after the trade deadline. Like you had enough time to figure it out. Like, okay, this is who we have. This is who we don't have. Let's go. We have a 4.5 game lead in the wild card. We're still good. And then just nothing. There's been nothing. And me and Browner said this last week. How many times did they win like 2 games or 1 or 2 games? And you're like, this could be it. This could be it. This is where they turn it around.
Right.
Friday.
2 out of 3 against Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah, take 2 out of 3 against Houston, or
Exactly.
take 2 out of 4 against the Giants, right? And start to believe again. Yeah,
right. And they never ever did. They followed up by losing streaks, long.
They can't go on a run. They can't go on a look. Go look at the Dodgers. Go look at the Giants. Look at them win 8 of 9, 8 of 10. 10 of 12. Just go. Padres don't have that.
The Cardinals on an 8-game win streak right now?
Yeah. Amazing. All right, hold on, everybody. Let me have 1 minute here. In fact, if Peter Seidler's listening or watching, Peter, I want to talk to you about Gabby.com/greatfriends because you're going to have to start figuring out a way to save money. Here's what I want to tell you. That as prices rise in seemingly everything, groceries, gas, entertainment, pretty much anything, prices are on the rise, and they don't seem to be slowing down. Houses, that's another good example. You know that better than anybody. Gabby.com/greatfriends, you can save money with your auto insurance. Now, here's the deal. You go to Gabby.com/greatfriends. You tell them, here's the auto insurance company I use, and here is the policy that I have. And they're going to come back to you with 40 of the top insurance providers, Progressive, Nationwide, Travelers, just to name a few, with fast, verifiable quotes. These are not ballpark guesses. These are verifiable quotes, okay? And then here's what you're going to do. You're going to wind up saving yourself a bunch of money. I figured I've saved $75 a month, about $900 a year by switching auto insurance by using Gabby.com/greatfriends. Now, you got to use the /greatfriends part because that's how they track it. So look, they have been featured in all kinds of great, publications, TechCrunch, Forbes, USA Today. You want to start saving on your auto insurance? Do it today. Go to Gabby.com/greatfriends. It's totally free. They're not going to sell your data. You don't have to pay for the service. It's Gabby.com/greatfriends. Gabby, G-A-B-I, Gabby.com/greatfriends. And let me tell you something. Shopping for auto insurance kind of sucks. So when you go to one place where you can say, this is the brand I use, this is the policy I have, tell me how you can beat it, they're going to come back to you with so many companies that have equal to or greater than coverage than what you're paying at a lesser price. Does that make sense? Gabby.com/greatfriends. And I want all the great friends out there, especially those of you who are going to see their Padre ticket prices increase next year. Can you imagine? They're increasing the ticket prices next year by like 20%. Where are you going to find this 20% to buy season tickets? You go to Gabby.com/greatfriends. You save money on your auto insurance, and then you wind up giving that money to the Padres, I guess.
Oh, man. Do you remember when they announced that and Browner was like, yeah, that's what happens when you have a good team? I was like, well, you better make the playoffs. That's a tough sell, man. That is a tough sell.
You know, we should have known how many problems there were in this clubhouse when Tatis did that interview a few weeks ago and he said, I'm coming back to play shortstop and I'm not having surgery on my shoulder. We should have started to know then the problems that were going on inside this clubhouse. What 22-year-old kid, I don't care if he's armed and dangerous with a $340 million contract or not, what kind of kid goes against the organization who says, I'll do the interview over at my place, not sanctioned by the team, no PR people around. And by the way, I'm not getting surgery on my shoulder. Why not? What does that mean, Browner? When he says he's not getting shoulder surgery, what does that mean to you?
Oh, I do what I want, whenever I want, however I want.
How about this?
It says I don't trust that team.
Yes, that's what that was the answer. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong. That was the answer I was looking for. The answer is I don't trust them.
Looking back now, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of.
I don't trust the Padres. That's what Fernando Tatis was saying.
He doesn't trust just the representation of AJ Preller, or he doesn't trust the organization as a whole. I think it's a little bit too late to not be trusting the organization as a whole, brother.
All right. Well, more to come. Stick around. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. This is Kaplan and Crew.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and Crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Hey, it's Pharrell here, inviting you to catch my shows on the Mightier 1090. We're on twice every Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific. Trust me, all the other sports stations are sleeping with your wife.
The all-new and mightier 1090. Adventure is waiting for you at BMW San Diego. A new 2022 BMW X3 X-Drive 30i waiting for you today when you lease for only $519 per month plus tax. BMW San Diego, Kearny Mesa Road and the 163.
At La Jolla Cosmetic, we try to help people achieve well-being, and we feel that it's not only important to look good, but also feel good inside. And honestly, what a better opportunity to help my community than being a supporter of an organization such as Las Patronas.
The mission of Las Patronas is to provide financial assistance to local nonprofits that are providing valuable community services in the areas of health, education, social services, and cultural arts. La Jolla Cosmetic has been one of our biggest supporters at Las Patronas, so we couldn't do what we do without their support.
You feel the need and you see the need because we go to visit each grant applicant.
Partnering with groups that are actually dedicated to help your community, it's the best thing that you can do as a responsible business.
Adventure is waiting for you at BMW San Diego. A new 2022 BMW X3 X-Drive 30i waiting for you today when you lease for only $519 per month plus tax. BMW San Diego, Kearny Mesa Road and the 163.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
San Diego State football beat Utah in a triple overtime thriller 33-31 on Saturday. The Utes and the Aztecs headed into the first overtime tied at 24. In the first overtime, SDSU quarterback Lucas Johnson, who played on Saturday due to Jordan Brookshire having an injured foot, connected with wide receiver Jay Rudolph for a touchdown. Utah found the end zone as well, sending the game to a second overtime. Both teams missed the field goal in the second OT, which led to a triple overtime. New overtime rules stipulate that in the third overtime period, the two teams will alternate two-point conversions. The game almost saw a fourth overtime as both teams were able to get the two-point conversion, but an overturned call on Utah's score saw an end to the matchup with SDSU coming out on top. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View.
Arash Markazi here, inviting you to catch my show, The Arash Markazi Show, on the Mightier 1090. We are on every Monday through Friday from noon to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Join me and producer extraordinaire G. Wiley, where we chop up Los Angeles sports and try not to piss too many people off.
The all-new and Mightier 1090.
From fitness to medical technology, explore how people are leading healthier lives on Your Health. Join Erica Cardenas as she introduces you to health experts and discover how our daily choices affect our well-being. Plus, learn simple tips for healthier living. Your Health, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. on YourView and YourView.com. Brought to you by La Mesa Rehab, improving the lives of those afflicted by chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Learn more at LaMesaRehab.com.
Teatro means theater in Spanish, and in Portuguese, and in Tagalog, and in Italian, and in so many languages. We have a lot of communities, a lot of culture here, so that is the reason why teatro is in the name. The mission of Teatro San Diego is to provide arts education to underserved communities, specifically in schools. Our goal is also in tandem with arts education to provide a professional theater company and dance company so that the community can see themselves reflected on stage at the professional level. Places like Subaru have really been so supportive and have helped us come up with projects like the AMI project.
I was so honored to be at an event a few days ago and heard some of the songs from it. These guys rock. This is just an amazing thing that everyone needs to see.
Time now for Kaplan and Crew tonight's Community Connect.
Shelter to Soldiers selects dogs from shelters and rescue groups all throughout California. Our ideal candidate at Shelter to Soldier is 8 months to a year and a half old. They're confident in different environments. They have strong social drive. Another motivator like food or toy drive. And ultimately, these are dogs that want to have a job and that have a greater purpose to become a service dog. Currently, about 85% of our dogs pass their service dog training. But if they don't pass, they become a career change. We don't like to use the word failure around here. So career change to an emotional support animal, or if that doesn't work out, then they career change to a pet dog. Still finding a loving placement and purpose in life.
Step up. You know, we're breaking that stereotype of what a homeless person is, this subculture society. We're just brothers, sisters, mom, dad, grandmas, and grandpas, being part of the solution instead of part of the problem.
So, ladies and gentlemen, left-hand side.
We make sure that there's no drug dealing, drug use, encampments around their facilities, or anywhere in our neighborhood. We self-police, and that's all a testament to the folks here that used to be out there.
Watch out for sharp objects, ladies and gentlemen.
Ed's, once again, he's a perfect example of the caliber of the men and women that have been outside on the streets.
Here in San Diego for over 50 years, have worked all my life since 1975. But suddenly I had a stroke and I lost all muscle control. One of the things you never think will happen to you, but it can.
The onus of responsibility need to go to our folks like Ed, people you've seen here that have tremendous skill, and give them the opportunity to shine. It's that peer-to-peer support, talking to the folks out there and bringing folks in here to start the process.
Let's go.
Kaplan and Crew tonight is brought to you by BMW San Diego, your certified BMW dealer, serving drivers throughout San Diego and the surrounding areas.
Shelter to Soldier is 9 years young with a mission to save lives 2 at a time. We're adopting dogs from local shelters, training them for post 9/11 combat veterans, and we're able to donate these trained dogs to deserving veterans in need.
You know, I was in a very dark place. I was having suicidal thoughts, and I really needed an immediate help. We don't know if tomorrow is going to be there for us.
Shelter to Soldier is a nonprofit, and we're able to do the work that we do because of you, the community. Whether it's an individual donating $5 or whether it's a corporate donor like the Barnes firm that's supporting us and sponsoring multiple dogs that are going to make an impact in the veterans' lives in need.
him by my side 24/7 has completely turned my life around. It's not just saving both of our lives. It has made an impact on myself, Nigel, my family, my work. So yes, they definitely have saved our lives.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. A new generation of radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
When you want to celebrate with great food, you need to find the perfect spot.
And we found it. One of our favorites today on Su Vida.